Experts have said that many transgender children will lead a life of depression and anxiety. Nearly half would attempt suicide by the age of 24. That is, up until now.
Research out of the University of Washington studied transgender children aged 3 to 12 who are socially transitioned, living as the gender they identify with. This new research shows those children experience the same rate of depression and only slightly elevated levels of anxiety when compared with siblings and other children their age. And today in the 4x4, we are taking a deeper look at the study and the impact on families.
So this study was conducted by the university's Trans Youth Project, and a couple of days ago I was able to speak with the lead author, Dr. Christina Olson, about this study. Dr. Olson, this study provided an entire new perspective for transgender children who have what they call socially transitioned. So tell us about the study and what does it actually mean to be socially transitioned?
Yeah, that's a great question. So what we mean by socially transitioned is that these are children who are presenting and living every day as their gender identity, which is different from the gender people thought they had at birth. So this means, for example, a kid that people thought was a boy who calls himself a girl, then she would be living as a girl, presenting as a girl, wearing girls' clothes, hairstyle, and using female pronouns. And what we found was that children like the child I just described tend to have pretty good mental health outcomes, actually, which is pretty surprising given that past research really suggested that children who are gender nonconforming tend not to have good mental health outcomes.
So, doctor, why the need for this study now, and what's changed over the years to even make more families with transgender children that they're now feeling more comfortable in speaking out and participating in such studies?
Yeah, so, well, first of all, this is really a unique time. In the United States, at least, there hasn't been another time where there were a large number of children who were socially transitioning at these early ages. So this is a really critical time to do this study because finally there are such children, and we, before this study, didn't know anything about how they were doing in terms of mental health.
And so how can, when you take a look at this study, how can this information, this study possibly change lives, change opinions, maybe even offer hope? What was your big takeaway?
I think the big takeaway is that early support can be linked to better mental health outcomes. And I think that really, I mean, what we're going to need always is more research, more studies, more diverse group of kids to really make a conclusion about for whom this might be the best decision.
Okay, Dr. Christina Olson, thank you so much. Well, Dr. Olson and her team there met with 73 different families for this study. One of them was the Ford family. They're in Washington, D.C. Vanessa and JR. They are the proud parents of Ronnie, a 6-year-old, and Ellie, a 5-year-old transgender girl.
And right now we're joined live by Ellie's father, J.R. Ford, via Skype. Good afternoon to you, J.R.
Good afternoon.
So I want to get your reaction to the study first, but first I should say, I want to ask you, did you know Ellie wanted to transition before she actually brought the subject up to you?
Well, it's a very good question. So, you know, a while before she announced to us that she was a girl, we had indicators, you know, presented before us, you know, a long time before that. You know, she wanted to wear and persistently present herself as a girl and wear dresses and you know, and do the more feminine things, and so Vanessa and I are the like-minded, that we wanted her to be whoever she wanted to be and do whatever she wanted to do. So, you know, before she started preschool, you know, there were some indicators, and we just let her be as she wanted to be. About a year ago, she did announce to us that she is in fact a girl. And that opened up a lot of doors for us to start to do some research and get our heads around what types of supports that she needed to have in place. And so that opened up a lot of doors for us, and the Trans Youth Project is one of those doors that helped us to understand what we have to look forward to in terms of research and tracking her in long terms of, you know, how she will, you know, be measured against, you know, cisgender kids who are their mind matches their born anatomy. So,
if I can jump in here, excuse me, did you ever at any point think, you know, maybe Zach at the time is too young, just 4, possibly he will at the time grow out of it, or were you and your wife were ready to embrace it and move forward? It seems like such a challenging situation to be faced with such a young child.
It is. It was a challenging time at at that point, but I just want to say again that however Ellie turned out, whether she wanted to remain as Zach or become Ellie, it was a journey that we were both ready to take because we would do anything to support our kids.
So what would you say, JR, to those who may criticize you and question why you would allow Ellie at that young age to make such a choice?
Well, kids, they, from the research that we've learned and from our pediatrician and from other doctors, kids, their genders are set around, this time when they're in that time of adolescence. And so the key is to listen to your kid, acknowledge them, acknowledge who they are, because, you want to do everything you can to support them, and to not acknowledge them sets up a lot of different barriers as they get older. So the key is to listen to them and to support them.
Right.
JR, how has this impacted your son, Ronnie, who is now 6, I believe, and how has it changed your family unit? And what do you say to other families in a similar situation, and what you'll have to, live with for the rest of their lives, essentially? And they have to live in the world, in the community, with maybe others that won't be as understanding.
Yeah, so Ronnie was the first to jump on board. He's an awesome kid. He set the path for us and to support her. The key is to really just surround them with a loving community. We have great family and friends who have provided an overwhelming level of support. And if you can surround yourself with positive people and put in the different types of support and resources, including school, her school has really, really been progressive in supporting her and us. If that's the key, is putting those supports around her. And I just wanted to pick her out and show you Ellie. So this is Ellie.
She's trying to hide.
Hi,
Ellie.
And this is the rest of the family. Here's Ronnie.
Awesome.
Hi, Ronnie.
But we have a great
and Mom.
She's still a 5-year-old, but she's great.
And I'm really 4, but on Sunday it's my birthday.
Oh, well, happy birthday to you, Ellie.
Well, Vanessa, JR, thank you for sharing the time and coming in on air with us. You always have a very loving home there, and we appreciate it. We know you're very busy, so thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
All right, coming up next.